It's Ebon Edge, not just radio, and this is the Bliss with the Duke. It's 9:15, and as promised, I bring you someone who was not briefed when she became a celebrity as to how they should act, because she is so down to earth and the craziest. I think I'm repeating a script, and I'm glad they did, because she's the sweetest person to work with. She will remind you that we have an interview today. And I always try to match what I see on TV and what I am experiencing. I'm like, I'm man, what's happening here? Sana, how you doing?
But a step further away.
But honestly, man, it's a breeze to work with you. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you so much. And with that being said, I have to also say that it's been so wonderful, this experience that I've had with this family at Urban Edge. You've all just made me feel so welcomed and at home and at ease, even though a lot of times I felt like I was out of my depth. And I think maybe that element of madness must be a coping mechanism.
I must tell you something is when it comes to programming, we were worried as to, is this a good enough space to host her?
Really?
Are we doing enough to cater for her?
Oh,
but
my
you've
goodness.
just made it so easy for us, man. It's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. But we are not here about Evan Edge today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Samela TyelBooi. And we just want to know some things about her. I'm interested to know, and I know that a chat with her will take about 8 hours. However, I've got limited time. And Sana, I want to know, who is Samela? If you were to be asked as to who is Samela, what would you say?
Nothing that you are expecting.
Okay.
Whatever your expectations are, just let them float out the window, please.
Okay.
Because I'm guaranteed to surprise you. I don't consider myself to be someone who's easily boxed in, or easily categorized. Or if you are going to categorize me, put me under unpredictable. put me under atypical.
Okay.
That is one thing I can guarantee you will learn about me. I think our producer Thokozani was surprised to learn that I'm actually a hip hop head.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because I look like someone who enjoys soul music and R&B and all that mature, expensive music. Instead, I want the rap music and gangster rap at that. So that's just one example of the many ways in which I think I surprise people, and what they see on screen and what they experience when we get to know each other are just, it's incongruent.
It doesn't make sense. I am still trying to locate you.
Yeah.
I can't even now,
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one thing I can say you can expect. That's how I can describe Samela. It's just leave that space open for the experience.
Wow.
Of getting to know me, rather than having expectations precede me. Yes.
Interesting. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I'm born and bred in Makhanda, formerly known as Grahamstown. I'm very proud of my little city. And it's a city because it has a cathedral. And I once learned that is what qualifies it to be a city.
Oh, okay.
Even though we still have donkey-drawn carts.
Okay.
And they park like cars and they go to the gas station.
The owners must have made a lot of money during Easter, eh? Because churches were hiring the donkeys.
I actually want to make it a tourist attraction. I wish we could do that. Like, they have on the beachfront where they get on those. I want to do that with the donkey carts in Makhanda, man. I feel like they could be a treasure, like a national treasure, but just for our little town. Yeah, so that's where I was born and raised. Went to school there. I did my tertiary at Gqeberha.
Okay.
Because, of course, when you come from a small town, what's the one thing you want to do? You want to get out. So I went to Gqeberha, although Rhodes was right there, right?
Okay.
And then as soon as I finished my studies at Gqeberha, I came to Joburg.
What did
it
you
had to
study
be
at
the
Gqeberha?
city of gold. I studied IT.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Hi, man. You're unpredictable.
You see what I'm saying?
What? Okay.
I studied IT. I did the full thing, graduated, got my honors. I came up to Joburg and I worked in the IT field. I was a technical analyst or something, and then I was a business analyst.
Oh, okay.
And then I couldn't deny the call to the arts anymore, and so I made a complete switch over to acting. When I dabbled in music too for a little bit.
You lie.
But the acting it was dominant.
Okay. And when does the acting bug bite in you growing up? Did you always imagine it? Or Makhanda?
Well, I think, Makhanda, I knew that I wanted to be a performance artist, whether acting or singing or dancing. Those were my three strongest forms of expression. And I guess I didn't know until much later that, there's an actual path that you can follow to doing this. You can take drama at school, which I did.
Okay.
Although after school, it was like, okay, now you have to actually study something that's marketable. Be reasonable. Don't even talk to your parents about drama, please. You're going to stress them out.
You're going to cause drama.
Please. Don't drama. I didn't want to hear that. So I didn't even talk to my folks about it. I just went and I studied IT. But I always knew that, like from primary school, I always knew that this would be me one day. And I just went about it very quietly. I didn't want to rock boats and ruffle feathers and everything. But when I made the decision, I spoke to my parents. And they said, "Why, we sent you to school, you got your degree, and what you do from here on outwards, it's your decision, as long as you understand that you also have to deal with the consequences, whatever they are." And that was a fair agreement to make, I think. And I didn't look back. From there.
Tell me about your first role or your first audition. How was that like?
I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life. I didn't know what to expect because, drama school in high school is a little different. So I went for this audition. First, I responded to the ad, which was in a newspaper in the Star.
Okay.
New faces wanted for TV. I called the number. I didn't know what to expect. And this guy, who then became my first agent, he put my audition on tape. I was very nervous. I thought I was terrible. And the next thing I know, he calls me and he says, "Yeah, okay, you've got to go to Generations."
Wow.
I said, "Wait, what?" He says, "You got to go to Generations." I was like, "To do what there?" He says, "Well, to act."
You lie. Your first gig was Generations?
First gig was Generations. I was barely more than an extra then, but it was still great for me. I couldn't believe it. And I was so naive and I knew absolutely nothing about the industry. I remember being on set for the first time and I thought I was going to see that episode the very same night. I went home. I told everybody, and we must sit in front of the TV because I was there today on camera. I was there. And so Nizon Mone TV tonight. And
I'm finished.
I had no idea that it's like 2 months before they can see what you did. So for 2 whole months, my friends and family were like, "Oh, vela nini kanti?" And I was like, "It's coming. I promise you, it's coming. It's coming." And I'm just praying, "Oh God, please." I hope they didn't just decide she was too bad. We can't show that. But eventually, 2 months later. 2 months later,
which
the episode aired. This was it 2005? I think 2005, 2006, there and thereabout.
Okay.
And then the episode played, and my part was so small. It wasn't even a word. It was like, when you want to laugh, but you go.
Okay.
That's all I had to do.
Oh my word.
My friends roasted the hell out of me. They're like,
I can imagine.
You made us wait 2 months just for you to go
for an almost
just
laugh.
for you to grunt like a pig. That's what you made us wait 2 months for. I was like, but I did it. I was there on TV, and it was a great laugh. And since then, of course, I was like, yeah, no, I was meant for this. I was the happiest I had ever been in my life.
And then you
honestly.
dropped IT.
I did. I dropped
Wow.
IT. I don't even know how I survived that long in the industry because I wasn't happy doing it. I appreciate that it's a solid career to be in. The IT industry, you cannot go wrong. And I will always encourage anyone who wants to pursue it to please, by all means, go for it. My friends who I studied with are thriving. And I always imagine maybe I would be able to make use of that qualification somehow. And I'm hoping perhaps it's something I can use to bridge the gap, say, between kids in rural schools and those ones in the cities who have access to technology. Maybe I can use it to good effect there. But I wasn't happy in the IT field at all, at all, at all. Although I knew the benefits of it are just immeasurable.
So would you say that at the moment you're at your happiest?
I would say at the moment I'm at my most secure and stable in this industry. Happy is a big word. I don't know if it's something that's innate within artists to always want more and always go
Yes.
towards the horizon, which is
Yes.
ever receding, of course. So happy is a big word. I'm appreciative. I'm grateful, of course, because it's not lost on me what a privilege it is to be at this level of my career. And it isn't something that everybody gets to enjoy, no matter how long they've been in this industry. So I could never take that for granted. But happy is that horizon that's ever receding. You attain one thing and you see the next that you want to reach for.
Very true. Does it
Yeah.
does it intimidate you that in generations there were big names? Your Connie Ferguson. I mean, you sharing lines with your Urapulana. How has it
Yeah.
been? What does it do to you emotionally and all that?
Look, at first I was like, okay, I don't know now anymore if it's the dream. Am I awake? Is this real life? What is happening here? What helped me was when I arrived there and when I first met them and I started working with them, was to realize that, oh my goodness, they're such wonderful people. They don't laud, at least they didn't to me, they didn't laud this experience and all these years of great work that they'd been doing over me, who was basically just I just got in the door. They didn't make me feel like, well, you should be happy to be breathing the same air as us. No, not at all. Never.
Wow.
Most down to earth, most gracious people ever. And my excitement, of course, I try to contain myself, but then this is me speaking. I can't contain anything. If I'm happy,
I know.
if I'm happy, you'll know. If I'm not happy, you will know. So of course I'd be there talking too much, and Rabs would be like, "Hey, can I say my lines now?" I'd be like, "No, don't say your lines. You don't have to." Me meaning, of course, I'm happy to just look at you, because wow, am I really here?
Am I breathing the same air?
I'm breathing the same air, and that's enough for me. Wow. And the poor man wants to work. He wants to do the work. But it's all good, childish fun, and they'll indulge me, of course. But then we have to be professional again, and I have to stop and get serious. But it's all been a lovely experience. I can't complain. I have nothing to complain about.
I'm interested to know as to how do you jump into character. Like I say, I'm struggling to match the two, and I know I shouldn't. And I guess that's what makes you a great actor, because when I look at, I wouldn't want to speak to the woman I watch there. I can't. She's just too serious for me. No, she's too serious. She's just too serious. She gets too pissed easily. That woman. Tell me about your preparation into jumping into a character and debriefing out of it. That process.
Well, it's a process. It's a process. I think as I start my day, at some point Samela has to sort of sit down or sit out. And I take it in steps. Like as I'm driving to work, I'm already, mentally prepared for what's coming, the scenes I'm going to shoot for the day. I pinpointed the emotional, points and where I've got to pitch my energy. Is it high up? Is it intense? Is it withdrawn? Is it, although I don't really plan what I'm going to do in that particular moment, because you have to give space for what your colleague is going to do and respond to that, right? But step by step, as I'm driving to work, as I'm sitting in the makeup chair, Ayanda comes in a little bit more. Then I get into my wardrobe and I've got even more of her now. And when I walk into studio, she's locked in. By the time the director steps in and we start blocking, there's very little of Samela in there, because I have to, everything that is Ayanda has to come to the surface now. And so it's a gradual process. It's not something that I really switch on and off. And I guess because it's a long form medium that I've been in, and I've been this character for 6 years now, it's become quicker for me to access her.
Okay.
It's become quicker for me to access her. Yeah. And then debriefing is sort of all of that in reverse now, as I take off my wardrobe and I take off the wig and I wash off the makeup, and the drive home helps as well, being the music that I listen to on the way, then a little bit of Samela. Yeah, La Shanya comes out a little bit more. And I can just relax until tomorrow, because, and I have to be intentional about that, because the last thing I want is, say, the last scene I was shooting for the day is an emotionally intense one. I don't want to bring that home to my family. I really don't. They don't deserve to have to experience that. Now I'm snapping at my husband or my children, and they don't know what they did wrong. That's so unfair.
Is there a time where you do a scene and it gets to you, like you really get into it so bad that it sticks with you and it's so sad, or it triggers you?
Yes, that has happened. It was quite, oh my goodness, I didn't actually anticipate that would happen to me. And I think maybe that's one of the things that made it, the trigger hit, and very strongly. I think it was a scene we were shooting where this one character had died, and I had to go and identify the body. And so going there and having to lift the sheet while she was on that slab in the morgue, as I'm stepping closer and reaching to like lift the sheet, it triggered now memories of the last moments before my dad passed.
Oh no, man.
I know, and I was with him. And I got through the scene having to do some very heavy breathing to get through it. But that stuck with me, for the rest of the day. And it took probably a couple of days, actually, just to work that out of my system and to sort of, let it seep out now and work its way out. And, so you got to give yourself a lot of grace as well for those things, because we're human. My body, my mind don't necessarily know that this is fiction.
Yes.
And I'm in character and I'm going to put this down. Those things that were triggered are very real, but I have to somehow work my way through it and not be upset about it, because it's a human experience, and that's what acting is. We're just portraying human experiences. And I suppose I was grateful as well that I had that to draw from. I had those true feelings, painful as it was, that moment while I was in character and I had to play that emotionally intense, moment. I had the real experience to draw from. So it was an authentic, truthful delivery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and you obviously, it's 2005. Even though you waited 2 months, but you eventually appeared, where you almost laughed, but you were not laughing. I don't know what the script was written, what was written in the script, or they just said,
well, now
you must
sniggers.
But how has your life changed in how people in Makhanda look at you, people you grew up with? Not now, but at that time, how did they receive you?
I think there was a degree of, disbelief, like, are you really from here? Are you sure?
Hmm.
Because it's a small town. You don't imagine that anyone
From
who's
here,
on TV is
yeah.
from here. You think everyone who's on TV is from Joburg or
Hmm.
America or something, you know? Um, so for a long time, I was like, no, you're really from here. Which school did you go to? Oh, sure. Nyan? And it was that. But over the years, it's like, oh, no, we know her. Yeah, she's really from here. She's one of us. Oh, you're home for the holidays. And,
Yeah.
and then that's it. No one's
Hmm.
really bothered me in the
Hmm.
way that you hear celebrities don't get any privacy or they aren't able to enjoy themselves when they're out
Hmm.
and about with their family. No, I get to enjoy all of that. And I think one of the reasons why is because I look nothing like I do when I'm on TV.
Yeah, you
I
yeah,
don't look
Vela
like any
Iko.
of the characters that I portray.
We've got Ayanda
So a lot
Iko.
of times also what happens is people walk past me and then they
Yeah.
go, wait, isn't that I'm gone? Um, the moment has passed. I'm 50 meters away. You can't quickly run back now. And, yeah, so it's been an interesting one. And whenever anyone does recognize me, it's always been, good natured, excitement. And I'm always very grateful and I always appreciate it because I understand that one of the reasons why I get to do what I do is because people have showed and expressed an appreciation for me, for my work, you know. So you take it with some grace. You take it with some grace.
Impressive. So, when it comes to, you spoke about your dad.
Yes.
When you spoke about him, I couldn't help but think that, I still have my parents. And
Oh,
if there's one
lovely.
thing that I am scared of, and I always tell my colleagues, Uguti, I am so scared of that thing where I would get a call and I'm told that one of them is gone, There was a time, I think 2 months ago, I got a call from my dad's friend telling me that my dad is not well. So he has a memory loss and all that. And I remember
Oh.
I dropped my phone and I could barely stand, My wife had to assist me, and then I had to change because I was from work and change clothes and all that, and then we drove there. But he was eventually fine. But there, I had that moment, a glimpse of what, they didn't say that he was
Yes.
dead. They didn't say that he's in hospital. They said, no, there's a memory loss. But I realized how a change can happen.
Our mortality. Yes.
So I'm interested to know as to how was it, just going back to that moment, and how have you learned to deal with it? Is it one of those where one would say you do not really, pain doesn't go away, you learn to live with it, or just how did you deal with it?
That final moment, what I remember so distinctly about it is that even then, my hope was so strong that no, he's going to be fine. Right up until he took his last breath. And watching him lying there, it takes a while. It's like such a surreal, out of body experience almost. But I was so sure that he'd be fine, even though you can see that this train is going one way, right? And so the hope never dies. Even though you are being told to prepare for the inevitable, the hope never went away right up until that last moment. And in the years, it's been 6 years now, in the years since he's passed, the pain doesn't quite go away, but it changes. It changes.
Okay.
It goes from being unbearable, and the waves, the frequency of those waves of pain is it's unpredictable. You don't know when it's going to hit you. You don't know what's going to trigger it. A year later, I'd be fine. And then a song would play and I'd be crying. And then a couple of years later, the memories hit you and there's a fondness and a gratitude for the fact that you had such a great parent, that you could love them so much. And when you think of them, you have such a deep gratitude. God put me with this guy.
Yo.
to look after me and bring, so the pain changes. It takes on a different shape. So it's like, it's not a hot, fiery grief. It's just a little glow of, I had a great dad. He was amazing. I'll always miss him. But now I'm not finding myself curled up in a little ball crying, the way I was in the first year, in the second year, in the third year, And even if I do find that I have one tear rolling down my cheek now, gratitude and fondness and those kinds of things. But the feelings are better now, even though it's still with a twinge of pain. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You'll never get over it. That's a lie.
You're so good at words.
No.
Are you sure you're not writing your own scripts? I think
it so happens I'm actually trying to write films now. I'm trying to write movies. So I hope these words better come.
And that is my last question, actually, as to what are we to expect from you going forward?
Well, I'm getting into my producer's role now.
Interesting.
There's a film that I wrote with my manager. We conceptualized it and I wrote it. And so we're still in the process, of course, of, trying to lock down funding and all of that, which, my goodness, it's grueling, it's demoralizing, but the passion won't let you give up. So hopefully before the year is over, we will have secured the funding that we need to be able to shoot this movie. I believe in it. It's a great story. And then I can officially call myself a producer as well, a film producer. I'm very excited about that.
The same thing you did in Generations, which you waited for 2 months. So I'm just going to be there. And also...
That's how my things work, It's like the first time I do it, I nail it.
And I'll come there. You don't have to pay me. I'll just...
oh, really?
Just like you.
You're going to eat your words. Step father.
I am here.
Up on that. I'm going to need you, Ushumael, too. That's what I'm going to need you for.
Actually.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna write a scene specifically for you, just because you said
Perfect. So. I am in. Oh man, if my last question is, speak to a 60-year-old Samela. What do you say to her?
I'd say no matter what it looks like right now, be grateful for the fact that you did what you did. Have grace for what you have not been able to do. And be excited for what's still to come.
Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. And I must say, and I shared this with my wife, and I said, there's one thing about Samela and Brian Temba and Princely. Samela, Brian Temba, and Princely. These people work hard. And there's times I don't want to do a show, and I do it because you guys always show up.
Well, yeah.
There's times
I'm in the company of greatness. I have to show up. I have to show up. You guys make this look so easy. I'm like, I'm gonna have to pull up my socks here.
I remember me and my wife listened to you the first time. I was not in programming then, and we listened to you. It was your first one. And I remember Floyd was going on in the group there. And we were listening like, hey, Lucy Sloy, energy ngaga. And I didn't know it was you. Hi, Ebo. Energy ngaga.
That time you drive you wine.
But one thing I can attest for, Wuti, you really, really work hard. And I think people must not be shocked of where you are going because of your hard work, and you must just keep it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Any last words?
Just tell everybody to keep coming to Urban Edge Radio. This is groundbreaking stuff right here. We're changing the culture and the face of radio. I know it's online, which isn't something that people are typically used to just yet, especially here in South Africa. But I believe by the time they catch up, we're going to be amazing. So I'm very excited. And my parting shots will be, let's just keep soaring. It can only get greater.
12 to 3, Saturdays, The Urban with Samela.
That's right.
Thank you so much, my darling. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for availing yourself, and may the good Lord bless you.
Thank you, Mfundis. I'm still going to ask my mother about this boyfriend. Yeah, I'm just working up the courage.
Well, and I can tell you that
when are we meeting?
I can tell you that even though I'm playing on a very sensitive line, it didn't start 6 years ago.
That's good to know.
Have a great night, my darling. Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Thank you, TheDuke.
This is TheDuke on radio. I just spoke to Samela TyelBooi. Wow, man. What an energy. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Just want to say thank you to you, my sister, for joining us. And at 10 past 10, we've got Midweek Boost with Ulebogang M. Mokwena. And then at 10:30, we speak to my sister, Ufigile Waga Butelezi, Umashenge. That is a business corner. For now, let's enjoy some good music. Ebenej, not just radio.